Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to navigate RAMPath. You're going to find that RAMPath is a very helpful tool for you to have throughout your matriculation through the program, and it is especially helpful during the advising session. So the first thing that you're going to see is a table of contents. I am going to do my best to make this a shareable PDF or PowerPoint for you to look over and help you just navigate through. So RAMPath has a lot of advantageous little tools that you're going to be able to use. Some of the more obvious ones are being able to view your GPA, view your grades, see what kind of courses that you're registered for or pre-registered for rather. But it also shows you what classes will you need to take to graduate. So it shows you which classes you're missing, their course numbers, so on and so forth. There's also a handy little what if feature. So if you ever decide to change your major, add a minor or a concentration, anything like that, you can put in that what if feature and it will show you how that will affect your graduation requirements. And Dr. Meany has a separate video on that. So the way that you navigate yourself to this handy little tool is you're going to log into your My WSSU account. And then on the left of your screen, you're going to see a red sidebar that you pull out, and under Tools and then Student Success Technologies, you're going to see RAMPath as your 7th option. So RAMPath is very much a visual tool, so there are several little icons that you are going to want to pay attention to. There is the complete green check mark and a green circle, the in progress, which is the blue half filled in circle, the prerequisite course, which is a blue box with a check mark. My repeat course is going to be an R in parentheses, and then my incomplete course is going to be an empty red circle. And there are, of course, there's two more, but those are the primary ones that you're going to run into the most. So here you see that we just have a few examples. So you see on the far left side, I have my red arrow pointing to an incomplete functional anatomy requirement. Then beneath it, we have a green arrow pointing to a completed sports nutrition requirement. My light blue arrow is pointing to an in progress advanced lecture and lab requirement, meaning that they are currently either registered or taking those courses. My dark blue arrow in the middle of the box is pointing to our exercise testing and prescription class, denoting that it is a prerequisite to something else. And then on the far right, we have our purple arrow pointing to the repeat icon, meaning that we see that they are taking exercise physiology at least one other time before they had taken it again in the summer session. So, and just to quickly orient you guys. So on the far left, we see is the requirement. Then the next column over is the course number, followed by the course title. Then those little black boxes are grades that have been blacked out for privacy purposes, but those where the grades will appear. Then after that is the credit hour value, and then finally the term in which that student took and received that grade, took that class and received that grade. Once you sign into your RAMPath, you're going to notice some general information. So you'll see at the top, I have blacked out the student ID and student name for privacy purposes. Your student ID is that little 940 number. Then beneath that, in the green box, you're going to notice your level in class, which will be undergraduate and either freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. Then next to that, you're going to see your concentration. Not all of you will have a concentration on your RAMPath. However, with that said, if you do not, you will have to declare one. So that might be something worth mentioning to your advisor whenever you go to meet with them for your advising for the next semester. So if you don't have a concentration there, you do need to have one. So you need to speak to them about that. But moving on, in my gray box, I have the student's advisor. And then beneath that, you're going to notice credits. So if you have, if you are a student who started at WSSU as a freshman, you are only going to have WSSU credits. If you transferred in, transfer credits will also be there, and then you'll have overall credits. You will also notice there is credits in progress. Those credits that are in progress, meaning the classes that you are currently taking or registered for, they do not count towards your overall credits. Those will only be counted in once you receive a final grade for that class. Then at the very bottom of my little screenshot, you're going to notice the box highlighted in yellow. That is where you're going to see your overall GPA as well as your percent completion of your degree. So that is going to include the required courses that you must take and the number of credit hours that you have. And both of those must be at 100% before you officially graduate. So in other words, you cannot complete all of your required classes and graduate if you don't have those 120 credit hours. And the same goes in the reverse, that if you have 120 credit hours but you've not completed all of your required classes, then you will still not be eligible for official graduation until that point. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, for those of you who have a minor or are wanting to declare a minor, that will also appear in that same general area as your concentration. So as we make our way down our RAMPath, you're going to notice several different sections: Gen Ed, Major, Minor, if that's applicable, and so on and so forth. Those sections will all be labeled as either complete or incomplete. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, I have a portion of that of those classes completed, so why is it still saying incomplete? Well, the reason for that is that those sections, they will only be considered complete once you have met or you have taken and successfully passed every single class in that section. So you'll notice in this particular example, the student has passed all of their Gen Ed requirements, so it is labeled as complete. However, in the picture adjacent to it, you will notice that they have most of their classes complete, but they are still missing their Anatomy and Physiology 2 lab. So even though they have all these other classes complete, that section is still technically incomplete because of that lab requirement. So from there, I'd like to quickly discuss required classes versus electives. So for some required classes, or I guess rather all of your required classes, you will notice, as in the case of my little green box, that all of those classes, they can only be satisfied with one particular class. You don't get a choice in the matter. If you want to satisfy that requirement, you must take that respective class. However, in the case of electives, you'll see at the bottom of my screenshot, you will notice that it says you need 3 classes, and then it gives you a long list of courses to choose from. So in that particular case, it must be 3 classes, but you kind of have options here where you can pick out exactly which one you prefer to take. Versus in my required courses, like I said, you must take whatever is listed there. So one of the handy little tools that I mentioned earlier was the ability to view course availability on your RAMPath. So if you look at your required courses and you see that any of those courses have a blue hyperlink, you can click on that to view course availability. So in this example, I'm going to click on EXS 3306. So what happens is it pulls up this little box. You'll see your credit hours, course title, a brief description. You will see any or prereq requirements, as well as section availability. So you'll see there that it has the semester, the CRN. It will have the times those courses meet and the classes that are available, or excuse me, the seats that are available. I personally would rather look at course availability through Banner, which I also have another video on. However, a lot of students like the ease of just when they're already on their RAMPath looking to see their requirements, they can go ahead and pull up and see what courses are available. Again, like I said, I personally prefer Banner because it provides you with a little bit more information, such as course instructor, as well as the location of your classes. But a lot of students, though, they really enjoy the RAMPath method, so it's whatever works best for you. I would like to note, however, that when you're registering for classes, a lot of students think that they only need the course number, that EXS number, and then the section in order to register, and that is not the number that you need. What you need is that CRN, which stands for Course Registration Number. And that CRN number is unique to that specific course during that specific semester at that specific time. If you select the wrong CRN number, it's going to sign you up for a different class. So for example, in this case, if I wanted to register for the Monday, Wednesday, Friday course that occurs from 10 to 10:50, but I accidentally select the CRN for the second section, then when I register, it's going to register me for that evening class on Tuesdays. So just make sure that wherever you pull your CRNs from, whether it be RAMPath or Banner, that you pull the correct CRN and not the course number. And finally, at the bottom, you are going to see, I do not have these pictured, but you are going to see a section for your elective courses. If there were any courses where you did not pass them, you will also see a courses not meeting requirements section, and you will also see courses in progress. So this courses in progress, which is the picture that I have currently on the screen, is just the courses that you are currently taking and or the courses that you are registered to take. And with that, everyone, that reaches the end of my presentation. I would like to leave you with a few words of advice. So I think RAMPath and Student Banner are 2 extremely helpful tools in creating your course schedule for the upcoming semester. I highly recommend that students look over both of those tools prior to scheduling, or excuse me, prior to meeting with their advisor during those meeting times. Your advisor is there to help guide you and advise you, obviously, and make sure that you are on the correct path towards graduation. However, with that said, the actual construction of your schedule is 100% your responsibility, because only you know when you're available, how much you can handle, and so on and so forth. So please make sure that you don't go to your advisors empty handed. Please make sure that you're looking over this information and you already know, have a general idea of what courses do I need, what sections can I make, when am I available, and so on and so forth. So be sure to go to those meetings. Generally in the fall, advising begins in mid-October, and in the spring, it begins in mid-March. And obviously during the fall, you'll receive advising for the spring semester, and in the spring, you will receive advising for the fall semester. One last thing, you will need a registration PIN if you are not already familiar with this process. In order to register, your advisor will give you a PIN for you to kind of log into your particular registration portal. You must meet with your advisors before they can give you that PIN, and they are the only person on this entire campus that has access to it. So please make sure you are punctual to your appointments and getting those set up. And then once you're there, you are prepared and ready to provide more than just a blank sheet of paper. And with that said, good luck, everyone. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.